Good morning. Can everybody hear me okay? Is that making it back? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get the program started. Just try to get everybody out here at 9 o'clock. My name is Kevin Brangers. I'm the Georgia chapter president this year for 2016. Thank you guys so much, and gals, so much for being out here today. I think we got a dynamite panel coming up. Richard Slayton is going to be moderating today, and I'm going to let him do the formal introduction. But I've just got a couple announcements that I'd like to go through. Just if anybody in your office or you know anybody wanting to pursue the CCIM designation, Atlanta is holding CI 101 August 29th. So please let anybody know in your office or anybody you know that's looking to move forward through the license. Our next program is going to be September 8th. It's going to be a lunch meeting. It's going to be held, it's sponsored by Kitchens, Kelly, and Gaines, and it's going to be hosted by Warren Everett CPAs and Advisors. There'll be more information coming out. We'll have some blast emails explaining the program and exactly what's to take place. Coming up on September 19th, we will be offering CI 103. Again, anybody in your office or anybody you know that needs that class, please let them know. Coming up in September. And the exam is coming up in October, and we will start the core review on candidate review course on September 20th. So if anybody in your office is needing, is going to be sitting for the exam in October, please reach out to us and let us know, and then we'll get you the information. There's going to be 4 classes for the review, and we'll get you the information, tell you exactly what's going on. Our October chapter meeting is going to be scheduled for the 13th of October. It's going to be a program social networking combination event. We are holding it at SunTrust Park, and there'll be more information coming on that as well. Our program committee, Michael and Leo, will be wrapping that up here, hopefully within the next week or so, and then we'll be able to get full details out to you. And then also, the big thing for the year is, as you know, Atlanta is hosting this year's Thrive Conference. Everything's up and running now on the website, on national and the Georgia website. Please go on there, get registered. It's October 24th through the 28th. And then the big thing for the Georgia chapter is that we will be hosting the networking event. That's going to be held on Tuesday, the 25th of October, and that is going to be at the College Football Hall of Fame. And all the information on that can be found on either National's website or the Georgia chapter website. Also, last thing, November 18th, Economic Luncheon. Please get that on your calendar, and Dr. John Doggett will be back for that. Fabulous speaker, just very engaging with the audience, so really excited to have him back. And I'm going to, real quick, I'm going to have Laura May come up. I just wanted her to make a couple minute. We've got some students here, and one of our big programs over the last year and a half has been a university outreach. And we've been successful so far getting into Emory and getting into Georgia State, and then with Richard being at Morehouse. And we have some students here, I believe, today that we're bringing them into the program as, you know, they're still college students or moving right out of college. So, Laura, yep. I'm going to let you.
Well, thank you for letting me speak with you today. My name is Laura May, and I'm with Bedford Cost Segregation. And I serve this chapter as the University Outreach Chair and Scholarship Chair. And one of the things we've done this year is we've targeted 4 universities for 2016. Georgia State, Emory University, Albany State University, and UGA. We've already accomplished in the first half of the year the Georgia State and Emory University. We've spoken with those groups several times, the students. And in fact, I've invited the students to come visit us at our chapter meeting today, and would like to acknowledge those that have shown up today. Can you either raise your hand or stand up so we can acknowledge you as the students from Georgia State and Emory? Houston, Leah, Michael, Kent, thank you for coming. One of the things that I'm charged with is the scholarships, and I want to just make our membership aware of the scholarships that are available. There are 4 scholarships available every year through Georgia CCIM. We've already granted one named endowed scholarship earlier this year. It's $1,000. We have 3 more that are coming up towards the end of the year. I think October and November are the deadlines. One in particular is targeted specifically to Georgia State students. Otherwise, the other 2 are available to not only students in real estate, but to any of our membership. You may apply. My goal is to have more than just 2 or 3 people apply for the scholarships. So I want to just make sure that you all are aware that those scholarships are available for the designation if you are still working on it and you are a candidate. If you are already well, let me back up. There are 2 other opportunities for scholarships. One is through the Institute. The Institute offers a diversity scholarship. The second is through GAR, Georgia Association of Realtors, offers scholarships for anybody that has a real estate license in the state of Georgia, or they work for a professional organization or association associated with real estate, and you can use it not only for the designation courses, you can use them for the ward center courses. So a course on negotiations, there's a number of courses that are available even after you received your designation. So just want to make sure you're aware of it. I have links to all of those on the Georgia CCIM website. The last thing I wanted to mention is, as people that have your designation, if you already have your CCIM designation, there is a program available to us, alumni, to still seek and continue our education. And there's a program called Life After the Pen. And what that is, it's $370. You pay it, you go to the same course, the 101, 102, 103, 104, whichever course you want, and you are allowed to take one of those courses a year. And Atlanta is probably one of the biggest cities that offers all 4 courses, not only once a year, but some of them are offered twice a year. So I wanted to at least extend that to you. I took one last year, and it was fantastic. It kind of brushes you up on the things that we learned and what we use in our everyday life. So anyway, I just want to remind you of that, and it's an honor to be your University Outreach Chair. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay. Thanks, Laura. Richard, why don't you come on up? Richard Slayton is our Secretary Treasurer. He's going to be our moderator today. Richard is Senior VP of Real Estate for MARTA, so couldn't think of a better moderator for you. So I'm going to let you do the honors of introducing our panel.
Okay.
And taking over from here.
All right.
Thank you, Richard.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. We have 3 exciting experts in this particular field, and I'm going to introduce them from left to right. The first panelist is Amanda Ryan. She is Senior Director of Transit-Oriented Development and Real Estate with MARTA. Amanda oversees the Office of what we call TOD, which is the acronym for Transit-Oriented Development and Real Estate, whose vision is to create transit-oriented communities that connect people to opportunities, drive sustainable community development, and promote regional prosperity. Ms. Ryan previously served as Interim Managing Director of Redevelopment at Invest Atlanta, which is Atlanta's development authority and the Economic Development Agency for the City of Atlanta. She oversaw the team responsible for managing and marketing the city's primary economic development tools, which are the tax allocation districts and new markets tax credits. While at Invest Atlanta, Ms. Ryan doubled the number of TADs and funded over 30 projects, which resulted in the investment of $3.5 billion in Atlanta's most underserved communities. A native of Cincinnati, Ohio, Amanda Ryan graduated from Boston College with a bachelor's degree in sociology in 2002. She earned a master's of city and regional planning from Georgia Tech in 2004. Ms. Ryan is a regular guest lecturer at the School of City and Regional Planning and has presented at numerous national and local conferences on transit-oriented development and economic development, and in 2015 gave a TED Talk at the TEDx Atlanta conference. She's authored articles in Urban Land Magazine, the Atlanta Business Chronicle, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and contributed to several best practice case studies for the Council of Development Finance Agencies. She's active in Urban Land Institute at both the local and the national level. She is a member of the National Transit-Oriented Development Council, which is a group of 50 national industry experts. Locally, she's active in Livable Communities Council, a facilitator for the Urban Plan Program, and a member of the Atlanta District Council Advisory Board. During her tenure as the inaugural co-chair of the ULI Atlanta Center for Leadership, she designed and implemented an innovative leadership program for real estate professionals, which now serves as a national model. Ms. Ryan serves on the board of directors of Dad's Garage from 2010 to 2015. She's presently a member of the board of the directors for Rebuilding Together Atlanta and serves on the board of trustees of the Atlanta Preservation Center, for which she also serves as a downtown tour guide. Isn't that nice? She's a member of the Outstanding Atlanta class of 2011 and the 2006 class of Leadership Atlanta's Lead Atlanta program, which she co-chaired from 2008 to 2009 and co-chaired the inaugural Alumni Steering Committee. She was named one of Atlanta's 40 Power Women in Real Estate in the Atlanta Business Chronicle's Commercial Real Estate Who's Who. In 2015, Amanda received the Longleaf Award for the Georgia Conservancy's Generation Green for her work to promote and implement sustainable growth and multimodal transportation options in Atlanta. The next panelist is Senator Brandon Beach, Senate District 21. Senator Beach, a Republican, was elected to the Senate in 2013. He represents District 21, which includes portions of Cherokee and Fulton counties. Senator Beach serves as the chairman of the Science and Technology Committee and as the secretary of the Transportation Committee. He also is a member of the Economic Development and Government Oversight Committees. Senator Beach currently serves as the president and CEO of the Greater North Fulton Chamber of Commerce, leading the 4th largest chamber in the metro area. Senator Beach has played an integral role in helping North Fulton grow and prosper in his 19-plus years in Atlanta. During his tenure with the Chamber of Commerce, membership of top-level executives and CEOs increased by 60%, and commerce retention grew from 67% to 82% annually. Senator Beach also served as the chairman of the Public-Private Partnership Committee. Under his leadership, the P3 committee was able to acquire key local transportation projects approved for Cherokee and North Fulton. Senator Beach was also elected to the board of the Georgia Department of Transportation by state legislators from the 6th Congressional District in 2008. In 2001, Governor Sonny Perdue appointed Senator Beach to the board of Georgia Regional Transportation Authority. In 2008, he was selected to chair one of Greta's most important committees, the Land Development Committee, formerly the Development of Regional Impact Committee. In this role, Senator Beach is responsible for leading a review of every significant development brought before the 16-county area that Greta serves. Closer to home, Senator Beach is the executive director and one of the founders of the North Fulton Community Improvement District. The group focuses on moving infrastructure projects forward. Under his leadership, the North Fulton CID has invested more than $2 million to help bring more than $30 million in new infrastructure for the district area. Senator Beach is a member of numerous community boards, including the Regional Business Coalition, Grady Hospital's Board of Visitors, the Greater Metro Atlanta American Heart Association, the Georgia Association of Chamber of Commerce Executives, Unco Park, and the Historic Roswell Convention and Visitors Bureau. Senator Beach received an undergraduate degree from Louisiana State University and a master's degree in business administration from Centenary College. He's also a graduate of the Regional Leadership Institute and a former member of the Alpharetta City Council and the Alpharetta Planning and Zoning Commission. He and his wife Chantel have 2 children and live in Alpharetta have lived in Alpharetta for the past 19 years. The third panelist is Mr. Dylan Baines. He's managing partner for Columbia Ventures. As managing partner of Columbia Ventures, Dylan Bain has primary strategic responsibility for the firm. Bain applies his entrepreneurial style, community relationship values, and business experience towards creative solutions through all phases of the real estate development process, from acquisition to design, entitlement, debt and equity financing, construction, marketing, lease-up, operations, and ultimately disposition. Bain's development experience varies from multifamily to single family to landlocked subdivisions to retail to office, mixed-use developments, land conservation. So the gentleman has done it all. So with a successful track record as an entrepreneur, Baines founded and ultimately sold a restaurant group in Virginia in the 1990s, immediately following college. Bringing the commercial renovation experience from the restaurant business, Mr. Baines embarked on a career in commercial real estate, which includes over 1,200 residential units, developed in addition to over 1 million feet of commercial space, while separately operating a property management firm. Baines brings several years of commercial real estate development and investment experience to Columbia Ventures. Examples of recent work include Studioplex, which is a mixed-use, mixed-income phase development in the heart of Atlanta's Old Fourth Ward on the Beltline, where he served as managing partner, and Village Place Brookhaven, which is a premier retail, office, and residential condominium project at the heart of Brookhaven's urban core, which was successfully completed in 2012. A committed entrepreneur, Baines serves as CEO of MusicToday.com prior to its sale to Live Nation, and has had an active role in several startups as advisor and private equity investor in fields ranging from insurance, technology, and risk management. Baines actively involved in the Congress for the New Urbanism and the Urban Land Institute, and volunteers for the Atlanta Beltline. Mr. Baines attended Georgetown University, holding a bachelor's degree in history. So let's welcome our 3 panelists. So, the topic of the discussion this morning is transit developments and TSPLOST update. In preparing for this conversation that we're going to have, I learned something very interesting that I felt like I wanted to point out. Real estate and infrastructure that supports real estate represents approximately 35% of the country's assets, which that is the largest asset class in this country. Of the top 15 infrastructure categories, transportation is the first. There's pent-up demand for transit-oriented developments currently across the country. And studies have shown that public transit can increase the development for potential real estate near stations and transit lines, and as a result, increase property values. So this is a very timely topic, and I think we're gonna learn a lot from it. With that, Senator Beach, I want to start with you. As the sponsor of Senate Bill 369, could you give us some insight on what Senate Bill 369 is, how it originated, and what was your thought process in bringing that bill to fruition?
Well, it started out as Senate Bill 330, and it was the MARTA bill, is what it was called. And what I was trying to do was expand MARTA from North Springs to Windward Parkway. We were also going to do the Clifton Corridor up to the CDC and Emory University, and then we were going to go out I-20. It was an $8 billion plan, a little aggressive, maybe a little too aggressive. So then that morphed into Senate Bill 369 that is now going to allow the city of Atlanta to vote on a $2.5 billion SPLOST for MARTA in November. I think they're going to do 0.4 on transportation and then 0.5 on MARTA, our transit investment. We in North Fulton then separated out, North and South Fulton, the rest of Fulton County. We're going to do 0.75 on roads and bridges, leaving 0.25 for next year to come back with transit. You know, I'll just be honest, I had some of my own mayors in North Fulton fight me on this. So I said, look, let's just get Atlanta what they need. Let's get us what we want on the roads and bridges, keep you guys happy. We'll come back next year. So I have full intent of coming back next year for the 0.25 to build out the rest of the transit in Fulton County. And then hopefully by then DeKalb will be able to get involved and do their Clifton Corridor also. But I will tell you, one of the other things we're doing as a Senate, one of the things we do, we're in the Senate January, February, March. We try to be out by April, by Masters Week. And then between when we're out and when we go back in session, we have our priorities straight. We try to get out by Masters Week. But when we're out of session, we have what we call study committees. And we are doing several study committees. And I've got to be at the Capitol at 10 today because I'm doing a study committee on the fintech industry, the credit card processing industry, and what that means to our state. But we're also doing a study committee that Senator Steve Gooch will chair, and I'm on that committee, looking at regional transit. We've got to get Cobb and Gwinnett involved. We cannot be a major international world-class region and city with a transit system that's really in DeKalb and Fulton and now Clayton. We've got to bring Cobb and Gwinnett in. We just got to figure out how to do that. And I think that if we can, I will tell you one of the ways I think that can happen is if North Fulton gets on board and we build MARTA up to windward, Gwinnett and Cobb are going to be almost forced to do it, if not, because if not, they'll be 15, 20 years behind of North Fulton. So that's kind of what that did.
Okay.
And but the TSPLOST in Fulton County, this wouldn't even be allowed if we wouldn't have, the session before, passed House Bill 170. House Bill 170 was the transportation bill that really allowed for counties to do their own TSPLOST. And I want to touch on 170 later because I want to tell you what that's meant to our state from an infrastructure standpoint.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Beach. And a follow-up question. What's the difference between the 2012 referendum and the current referendum that's in play now?
Well, I will tell you this. In 2012, we tried to do too big of a region. It was 10 counties. And, there was just no trust. Cherokee County thought all the money was going to go to Atlanta. Atlanta thought some of the money was going to go outside the city of Atlanta. And there was just a lack of trust, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So I think we decided we just have to have it by county. And I think a great example of that is this. Forsyth County overwhelmingly defeated the TSPLOST, 80%. 2 years later, they came back with a $200 million bond initiative, all the money staying in Forsyth County, all the money going on 400 Ronald Reagan Parkway, and they sold it to their constituents. This is your money, it's your investment, it's staying in the county, it's not going anywhere besides Forsyth County. It passed with 76% of the vote. So that's the theory behind us being able to tell the folks in North Fulton that this $565 million for roads and bridges is going to stay in North Fulton. It's going to relieve your congestion. We have a project list. It's very similar to an EastPLOS. Those have been very popular in North Fulton. They pass with 80 to 85% of the vote because they know they're going to get a new middle school, a new elementary school, a new high school, and they actually do what they say they're going to do, and they overwhelmingly every 6 years pass that again because they've produced the results. And I think if we produce the results of this project list that the mayors and council and the county commission have put together, I think we'll be able to pass another TSPLOST 5 years later when this sunsets, but we got to deliver on the projects.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot. Amanda, I'd like to pose a question to you regarding MARTA's Transit-Oriented Development Program. Could you speak to us about MARTA's current program and where it is and what's your vision for it?
Sure. So I joined MARTA about 2.5 years ago to lead the implementation of our new Transit-Oriented Development Initiative. And what transit-oriented development is really people-oriented development. It's kind of the antidote to the traditional auto-oriented style of development we've seen in Atlanta over the past several decades. So transit-oriented development is development that is intentionally designed really around the pedestrian to maximize access to transit. So MARTA owns over 25,000 parking spaces. Less than half of those are used on a regular basis. So what we're doing through our TOD initiative is redeveloping that well-located, underutilized surface parking at our train stations into these mixed-use, high-density, pedestrian-friendly communities, with the goal of increasing ridership by concentrating more uses at the stations. We're also hoping to generate new revenue to support our operations and improve service through the lease and sale of our property to third-party developers. And lastly, we want to support both community development in those neighborhoods where we're building these projects by providing new amenities and services to those residents, and also support regional economic development because we recognize that MARTA is truly an economic development asset for the region, and if we continue to strengthen it, we can better attract jobs and investment to the region.
Well, thanks. And a follow-up question, Amanda. Can you tell us about some of the TOD projects that are currently underway?
Sure. So we have 6 projects that are underway right now. 3 along the East Line. That includes a project at the King Memorial Station, the Edgewood-Candler Park Station, and the Avondale Station. And Dylan and Columbia Ventures are our development partner on both Edgewood-Candler Park and Avondale. And we have a project underway in Chamblee at a closed parking lot across the street from our Chamblee station, as well as one in Brookhaven. We have about 15 acres at our Brookhaven-Oglethorpe station, so that's our most significant redevelopment opportunity. And we recently announced that we're going to be moving forward with TOD at the Art Center station in Midtown. It's a small site, it's about 6 acres, so that project will entail the development of the station itself and the incorporation of those transit functions into the project. So it will be probably our most complex undertaking.
All right, thank you, Mr. Baines, and Amanda, that was a perfect segue into the next question for Dylan. So, Dylan, can you elaborate? Amanda just alluded to a couple of the projects that you're working on with MARTA. Can you elaborate on those 2 projects that you're currently working on?
Be happy to. So Edgewood Candler Park is located 3 blocks east of the Edgewood Retail District, which is a power center on Moreland. We think it's a terrific neighborhood location. We built 5 projects in that neighborhood that encompass senior housing, affordable family housing, and market rate townhouses. We competed for and won the right to develop that station, and it broke ground maybe 3 weeks ago. It's going to include several phases. The first phase is 224 units of market rate housing with a set aside for workforce housing. The second piece that will start in 2017 is kind of a placemaking center, and that includes a 20,000 square foot facility for Moving in the Spirit, which is a youth development organization. They've been in Atlanta since 1989. They have a Perkins and Will designed headquarters building that will feature a 140-seat performing arts center, a teaching facility, and in addition to that, we'll have a public park and a restaurant activation within the park, all at the entry to the MARTA station. We've reserved 2 acres on the east side of it for a future use. It's currently being used in the interim as parking for MARTA. We don't yet have a plan for that future use. We'll kind of look at it every year annually to see what we think should be the execution there. But it should complete and open those first 2 phases the first quarter of 2018, so, moving right ahead. In Decatur, we have an 8-acre site on the south side of the station that's amusingly named Avondale. It's on a road that's got about 20,000 cars per day, which is a nice activator. It's on the south side of Decatur, which is underserved commercially, and we've got a pretty robust plan there. We're going to, we expect to close our financing end of September, beginning of October, somewhere in there. And the first phase there will include 350 market rate units, a 95-unit independent senior living center, 20,000 feet of commercial, 2,000 square feet of office, the transit plaza. We have 2 out parcels there. One out parcel is up on College Avenue, and the other out parcel is within the campus, and that's under discussion with the City Schools of Decatur for a early child learning center.
Thanks a lot. So Dylan, also with those developments, a follow-up question. What are some of the challenges that you've seen or experienced in putting the TOD deals together? You know, financing challenges, you know, entitlement challenges, things of that nature. Can you speak to that?
So Columbia Ventures is a new company. We formed it 3 years ago. It's a sister company to Columbia Residential that was formed 25 years ago. And Columbia Residential has always worked to provide mixed income and affordable housing within the public-private partnership. And so our heritage has always been working in that environment, the P3 environment. I think that for other developers who have a pure market rate background, there could be some frustration because they want to see a market rate timeline, and it doesn't happen that way in the public-private partnership. it's more complex. There are more moving parts. There are more people at the table. There are more approvals. It takes longer to get these things off the ground, but you're talking about some incredible locations and some activations that could not happen otherwise. And so it takes patience, and it takes a real partnership. We could not have done it without MARTA. We could not have done it without the Decatur Development Authority, Invest Atlanta. There are a number of folks that are helping push this forward. In terms of specific challenges, when you talk about a ground lease, a lot of folks that operate in the capital stack will get turned off and will go in search of something easier and quicker to do. But there are just as many people who are deeply interested because these locations are special. And we think that over time, as you know, the economic cycle does this, that they're very defensible, or more defensible perhaps. You know, this offers a family a way to adjust their budget. Maybe they can go from 2 cars to 1 car. Maybe the person goes from 1 car to 0 cars. These are walkable places. The Decatur and this location in Edgewood are terrific neighborhood locations where you can walk to so many different work options, play options, eating options, shopping options. In terms of, you know, getting to the deal itself, our debt is provided by a Midwestern bank. This is for Edgewood. Our equity partners in New York player. They understand the transit stuff in New York City. The terms of our deal, if we had bought, you know, market rate fee simple land next door, the terms of our deal with the bank and the equity partner would be no better. We got best in class partnerships with the bank and with the equity partner. Could not have done better on a fee simple arrangement. It just took more time to find the right person. And we didn't have, at the end of the day, you know, 15 offers for debt and 15 offers for equity. It was a handful, and finding the ones that they had a similar vision, so that we could close with them and move forward.
Amanda, given MARTA's number of parking spaces available through the system, the 25,000 spaces that you spoke of, and the underutilization of some of those spaces, is it feasible to have TODs at all of the MARTA stations?
I think that it is feasible. MARTA's not necessarily going to be the sponsor of the TOD at all of those stations. We have a document that we call our TOD guidelines, and it establishes typologies for every single station in the system. And some typologies lend themselves better to TODs than others. For example, an end-of-the-line station like North Springs, that typology is a collector station. So the primary function of that station is to bring people into the system, to allow people to park their cars or come in on a bus and get on the system. So you could have some TOD there, but that's not going to be the primary function. That's not going to be the primary use of the land. You can contrast that with an urban core station like Peachtree Center, which is entirely subterranean. MARTA doesn't really own any developable property, but you, I think, would describe that area as transit-oriented. So we have really a range of different opportunities, and there are a lot of different variables that are taken into consideration when we decide to move forward with the project. Parking utilization and the land that's available for development is really one of the primary drivers.
Follow-up question regarding the referendum. If the referendum passes, what are MARTA's expansion plans relative to that?
Sure. So as the senator mentioned, excuse me, coming up this November, there will be a referendum within the city of Atlanta to increase the sales tax that goes to MARTA by 0.5 cent. So the projects that would fund are entirely within the city of Atlanta. We do have expansion projects that go outside the city of Atlanta. He mentioned those 3 projects. So the referendum this November is really going to focus on improving the connectivity within the city of Atlanta. And that does include some MARTA expansion, but it also includes a lot of light rail associated with the Atlanta Beltline and the Atlanta streetcar. We have a couple of infill stations which potentially could get funded and constructed. And we're also looking at improved bus service throughout the city.
All right, thank you.
Can
Senator.
I just say something? We have to get this passed.
Yeah.
We need your help to get this passed. If we don't pass this in the city of Atlanta, I'll have no chance of North Fulton ever doing it, or Gwinnett or Cobb. We have to get this passed. I don't mean to butt in
Yeah.
there, but I would just tell you, you got to tell your friends, your family, when you're at the swimming pool, tell people about this. It's going to be on the bottom of the ballot, way below the presidential election in the U.S. Senate. It's going to be a bottom ballot question, but we got to get it passed if we want to have a regional transit system.
Yeah.
And I can't say that because I work for MARTA.
She can't. She can't. She can educate you. I can
Right.
tell you, vote yes,
Right.
and I can advocate, because I'm a chamber president and I'm a senator, and I can do that. And I'm telling you, we need your help on this because, you know, listen, I'm a Republican from the suburbs, and I'm pro-MARTA. If I would have been pro-MARTA back in the 90s when I ran for city council, I would have never got elected. But MARTA's changed. MARTA's done a good job. Keith Parker has done an outstanding job from a leadership standpoint. The board, Robbie Ash, and the board has done a great job. They have turned that organization around just like Grady's been turned around. And I will tell you, we've got to have MARTA leading the way on this transit expansion. I
And
didn't mean to jump
we
in.
will have an educational campaign that will launch shortly that will provide you all with the information and the tools that you need to make an informed decision on the referendum. But it is certainly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for MARTA to expand beyond what was originally envisioned when the state legislature created MARTA in 1965.
And Senator, you touched on this earlier. In your opinion, what needs to change in Alpharetta to allow for expansion into North Fulton?
Well, the market's going to dictate that change. I will tell you what's happened. I've been president of the chamber 14 years, and I've been involved in economic development since I've gotten there. And 14 years ago, the CEO made the decision based on where he or she wanted that company to relocate based on where they wanted to live. So if they wanted to live in Sugarloaf, they were going to Gwinnett County. If they wanted to live in Golf Club of Georgia, they were going to Windward. You fast-tracked to today, that CEO is still making the decision where to locate the company, but they're basing it on where the talent lives. And if the talent lives in Midtown or near Georgia Tech, or if the talent lives on the Beltline, that's where they're going. What really opened my eyes was we had 600 jobs in my district, Athena Healthcare, that moved down to Ponce City Market, and we lost those jobs. And I asked the CEO who loved Alpharetta, he said, look, my talent was not going to drive up 400 anymore. I was losing talent. I had to go where the talent was. I'll give you another example. If you would have told Jim Moran, who was the president of the Gwinnett Chamber 9 years ago, when NCR moved here, that they would leave Gwinnett and go to Georgia Tech, he would have said, there's no way. They're coming from Dayton, Ohio. They're a Gwinnett company. Well, guess what? They're going to Georgia Tech. They're going to Midtown. You know why they're going there? The talent is there. So we have to, I think that, and I will tell you this, I had opposition because of my stance on MARTA and my vote on the House Bill 170, the infrastructure bill. And I had a rich guy run against me. He self-funded, spent $485,000 against me. We won by 19 points. But one of the things we did when I had the opposition, I wanted to really know where we were on MARTA. So we polled North Fulton, my district in North Fulton. 64% of the people said they want to have the opportunity to vote on transit to Windward. Out of that 64%, 55% said they would vote yes. The people are ahead of the politicians on this issue. For some reason, the elected officials in North Fulton are scared of MARTA, and they need to embrace it and need to quit being scared of it because the people want it. The people are sick and tired of sitting in traffic on 400. They want options. The young people want options. And if we're going to have the corporate expansion that we want, like I'm in an office, a suburban office park, back built in the 80s. That could be a dinosaur if we don't change our ways and change our thinking, in my opinion. You don't see many developments. I know Pope and Land's getting ready to do development on Haynes Bridge and 400, 25 acres. They're going to have a hotel, residential, office, restaurants. It's going to be a mixed-use development. Same like Avalon, very similar to Avalon on a smaller scale. That's what the people want.
Yeah.
And we gotta deliver that to them, and transit's gotta be a key component in that to be successful, in my opinion.
So, Senator, you want to take a couple minutes and revisit and talk a little bit more about the House Bill 170?
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, what we did on House Bill 170, we went from a sales tax on gas to an excise tax. What that means is we used to tax the price of gasoline. So if gas was $4 a gallon, we were flush with cash at GDOT. If it was $1.95, we couldn't cut the grass in between the interstates because we didn't have any money. You follow me? So what we did, we went to an excise tax, so we taxed the gallons. So, and we knew how many gallons we were selling. We just never knew what the price was going to be. So we went to this gallon excise tax. Well, guess what happened? The price of gas went down to $1.90 to $2 a gallon. We thought we would bring in $1 billion in revenue. We just ended our fiscal year. We're going to bring in $1.8 billion because more people are driving because gas is cheap. We're selling more gallons.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a huge windfall for us. So between that, and then if we pass these TSPLOST in Fulton and Atlanta, you're going to see a lot of orange barrels out. It's going to be painful for a while, but just know that the benefits will be there in the long term. So you're going to see a lot of construction going on. Come January 1st, it's going to be about a 3.5 year project. Georgia 400 and 285, it's going to be a nightmare. But when it's finished, you're going to be glad we did it. It's going to be a great interchange. So you're going to have a little pain, but we have the money. And I'll just tell you this. I'll give you this example. I just got back from Lexington, Kentucky, to the Southern Leadership Conference, which is 15 southern states of senators and state reps. Arkansas had the same formula that we did before we passed House Bill 170. They said, and they had a bill very similar to ours, and it didn't pass. And they said, we wish we'd have passed it like y'all did. They're $300 million in the hole because gas prices went down and they're on a sales tax. So we did the right thing. It was a bold decision. It barely passed. It only passed by 1 vote, but it took leadership. And I will tell you, that's the kind of things that I think your legislature does to help you guys sell real estate. I'm a firm believer in this. Government doesn't create jobs. Y'all create jobs. But what we can do as government is create a conducive environment with tax policy, less regulation, great education and workforce development, and infrastructure. And that was the one thing we were really lacking here in the state of Georgia. We were not investing in our infrastructure to keep up with our growth. This will help us get caught up. We still need to do more, but this is a great step in the right direction. And this is going to put us 5 and 10 years ahead of the Arkansas of the world because we're investing in transportation and transit. So it was a big vote. It was a good vote. And it helped. The other reason I voted for it were a couple reasons. When we voted on that, I want you to remember, we were very heavily dependent on the federal program. And Congress hit the Congress wouldn't pass a transportation bill that was insolvent. Basically, they kept doing these continuing resolutions, and GDOT couldn't plan on 3 to 6 month continuing resolutions. So this gave GDOT a reliable, steady source of income, $1 billion, and now it's turned into $1.8 billion. So as long as gas stays cheap, we'll be bringing in more money than we thought. So it was a good bill. Glad we passed it.
That's pretty good. Thanks a lot. This is a great discussion. So at this point, I want to turn it over to the audience and fill the floor for any questions for these panelists. Yes, sir.
Question for Brandon. Once the green light is received on Martorell extension, how long are you looking for the station to come online? How long before it takes?
Well, the North Fulton CID, in conjunction with MARTA, has done a study. It's called Connect 400. So we've done a lot of the environmental work. We've done a lot of the design work. We are ready to go. We can't do anything till the environmental's completely finished. Then we can start acquiring right-of-way. But the way it's built, we're not going to have to acquire a lot of right-of-way, and we're going to go right up the 400 corridor. And we're going to do whatever we can to get a shovel in the ground as quickly as possible and get it up to windward. I mean, I think you're talking about 7 to 8 years before we would, see a train get to Holcomb Bridge. But, well, I think it can be done faster. I think we can if we get everybody behind it. I think we can get it done. But I think 2024. I'm a little optimistic, and I want to see it done before I'm in a rocking chair. So and one of the things we got to work on is working together with 400. If they're going to do managed lanes and MARTA's going to do MARTA, we don't need to do 2 environmental studies. Let's get together, make some decisions together, and get it done. and try to speed the process up. And when you use state dollars, I'll give you an example. Highway 20 from 575 to Cumming up in Cherokee County in my district, that was a federal project. We were using federal dollars. Anytime you use a federal dollar, which is your money, there's a possibility you could have to jump through 48 different hoops. Okay, you have to go through all these different things. On Highway 20, for example, they were making us look at the current Highway 20, a northern route, a southern route. We were going to have to do environmental studies on all of them. It was going to take 6 to 7 years before we put a shovel in the dirt. So when we passed House Bill 170, I went to the commissioner and said, can we move that off the federal program and put it on state program? Right now, they're putting a shovel in the dirt. So that's going to save not only money, but it's going to give the constituents in my district a road 6 to 7 years ahead of schedule and make their quality of life better. So we don't have to go through those federal regulations. And hopefully we'll be able to do some of that with MARTA, even though I think we will have federal transit money involved. But hopefully we can speed the process up with the state dollars.
Yes, sir.
I have a question, Senator. What's the feasibility to bring MARTA beyond Windward up to the county line to McGinnis Ferry?
Well, it could go up to, it could go to the line, but it cannot go. The MARTA Act of 1965, unless we change that act, only allows MARTA to participate in 5 counties.
Right.
Gwinnett, Cobb, Fulton, DeKalb, and Clayton. So it can't go to Cherokee and it can't go to Forsyth, but it could go to there. Right now, Windward's kind of the stopping point of the studies we've done.
But it could go to McGinnis.
It could go to McGinnis, to the Fulton County line, which we're building a new interchange there, so I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
There is, that's in the state program, a new interchange to then connect McGinnis.
Equifax is right
Yeah.
there too.
Correct.
That they're big in the water.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Brandon, what is the chances of Northern Arkansas will be resurrected?
No chance. It's not going to happen. I mean, you'll have some east-west connectivity like Highway 20 that I was talking about, and then McGinnis Ferry, we're going to 4-lane from Johns Creek Hospital to 400, so you'll have 4-lane connectivity from 400 to 85 with exits on both. So you'll have some connectivity there, but the Northern Arc, I don't think will happen. Not in the form it was proposed.
I saw a couple other hands. Yes, ma'am.
This question is for Amanda. Can you speak about the likelihood of implementing MARTA implementing a rapid transit bus system to the outlier, counties and bringing them into like West Springs, the other cities?
Well, as the Senator just mentioned, we can only operate within our service area. Our service area right now is limited to Fulton, DeKalb, and Clayton County. So in order to go outside of that, it would require legislative action. But we are looking at bus rapid transit within the city of Atlanta. So right now we have 3 tiers of service, rail, bus, and mobility. We recently completed a comprehensive operations analysis that would introduce additional tiers of service, including bus rapid transit as well as community circulators. And both of those would require different types of vehicles. We actually have an articulated bus that would be perfect for bus rapid transit that is operating right now on Buford Highway. And you may have seen we also are testing out a double-decker bus. We're also looking at smaller buses that can move through neighborhoods better.
Plus, let me add to that I've been involved in transportation 14, 15 years. I've never seen a better cooperation between Greta, MARTA, ARC, GDOT, all the alphabet soup organizations are meeting on a monthly basis. And Greta does have an express service, and I know they're working with Keith Parker on trying to coordinate those into the MARTA system. So I think, you can go through it from that angle, the express bus service.
Yeah, and I would add, we have been working with Cobb DOT as well, and they're planning on bus rapid transit, which would connect in potentially at Art Center Station. So that's absolutely right. There are opportunities for us to partner with other transit providers throughout the region to provide that service.
Yes, ma'am.
And a lot of that is just better telling our story and talking about what we're doing right. We are one of the safest large public transit systems in the country. We receive awards for it. We also are implementing technology upgrades specifically to attract choice riders that you're referring to, so that it is a more attractive option, so that you can do work when you're commuting in every day. We have Wi-Fi on our buses now, and we'll be introducing it onto our trains. We'll have mobile technology where you can buy your fare on your phone. We're also trying to just improve the overall user experience within our stations. through enhancements and upgrades to the stations themselves, introduction of public art within our stations. So we are working to try and make it a more attractive option. But I do think part of that is the logistics, and a lot of people just complain that MARTA doesn't get them where they need to go. And so we are focused on improving last mile connectivity so that it's easier to get to your final destination. And we do that through partnership with Uber. The City of Atlanta is introducing a bike share program that will have kiosks at our stations, so that helps get you to your final destination. And we're also working in partnership with local jurisdictions to improve the sidewalk network so that you can get there on foot if necessary. And then the City of Atlanta referendum would also help to address that through the streetcar and the Belt Line and other transit enhancements. Cobb DOT right now. We did previously have a partnership with the Braves where we did provide bus service from the 5 Point Station. That's not currently contemplated, but certainly a possibility. But Cobb is outside of our current service area.
We have time for one more question.
That's contemplated as one of the projects on the list for the referendum this fall. So if it passes, that would provide a significant amount of funding for Atlanta Beltline Light Rail. There are maps available online. I think it's called the martamenu.com, where you can go and look at all of the projects that have been approved by Atlanta City Council to be included on the project list for the referendum. The Beltline segment doesn't cover the entire Beltline. It's kind of an S-curve. So it hits the northeast side and the southwest side and cuts through the middle of the city. So it's very much a possibility if that referendum is passed.
All right, well, thank you all. At this point, that concludes our discussion this morning. I hope you found it very informative. And at this point, I'll turn it back over to Kevin.
Thank you, Richard, for a wonderful job, and our panelists. What a great program, very informative, perfect timing with the election coming up. Just real quick in closing, what I would like to do is thank our students, special thank you for the students coming out today, and then more importantly too, I'd love to thank our sponsors. Please take note of who they are, because without their continued support and loyalty to our chapter, these type of programs could not be made available. So just in closing, thank everybody for being here. Have a great day, and remember our next program's coming up in September. And if you need any information, just go to the Georgia website, okay? Thanks, guys. Have a great day.